PowerPlayChess, brought to you in association with Kagi. I'm going to give you 5 positions to consider, and at each one I'd like you to try and work out the best continuation. So 5 puzzles for you. Once you've done that, remember you can always pause the video to take things in, even set up the positions with real pieces if you want to. And afterwards I'm going to give you the solutions. And I should say also that there's a theme which links all these positions. More on that later. So here we go. Let me give you the run-in to this one. So white played knight takes f4. If that's taken, then queen d4 looks like quite a good move. Looks incredibly powerful. So therefore black played knight e4. The queen was attacked and moved. And black played knight takes bishop. Over to you, white to play what's best. Next position. Okay, that's the position. Even material. And black played d5. White to play here. Next position. Oh, we've got an end game. So let me give you the run up to this. Rook g5. So we've got a race going on. So now we've got these 2 pawns steaming down the board. And it's now white to play. White to play. What would you do here? So these 2 pawns are just a couple of steps from the queening square. Next position. So it's a Catalan. And black took the pawn in the middle. How should white play after that? White to play. And finally, we have this position. Here, white played bishop takes pawn check. And then rook takes bishop. So it's now white to play. What would you play here with white? Okay, let's go back to the beginning and check out all these positions. So this first one, here we go. Benko against Suttles, the US Open 1964. So black has just taken on c3. Well, the point is this, that if white takes the knight immediately, like this, then black will be able to take the knight on f4. So here's the trick. You throw in queen g3 check. A Zwischenzug, an in-between check, or a Zwischenzug, an in-between move. Check. Obviously the queen can't interpose, that'll just be taken. So the king has to go to h8, and then queen takes knight. And because of the pin, then white saves the piece, and white is actually a pawn up. It's actually not so clear after knight g5, it was quite a messy game. It might be even better to play a further Zwischenzug, an in-between move, or an intermezzo, and throw in knight h5, threatening a mate. And if rook g8, then that's a better version. Or if queen g5, then that gives white the advantage in the endgame. White is, after all, a pawn up. Yeah. That's correct, yes. Well, I had to do a quick recount. Okay, next position. So the correct solution is knight c3, queen g3, and then you take the knight on c3, or even better, play knight h5. Okay, Adams against Conquest, British Championship 1990. I was playing in that tournament. And Stuart Conquest played d5. Now, if white exchanges queens, then black is absolutely fine. There's no difficulty there at all. And if knight e5 check, which is a very inviting move, then actually the king steps back. And black is okay here. The king is going to move to b7 and is pretty safe. And the rooks are connected. Black is fine there. The best move is to play instead another Zwischenzug, another in-between move, Queen f6. And the game went pawn takes bishop, knight e5 check. And white already had a fantastic position. I mean, there's just one material. One question is, after d5, queen f6, what happens on rook g8? This is critical, and I suspect that Stuart, in his original calculations, might have overlooked white's excellent reply here. White can play. This didn't happen, but I suspect that Stuart had seen this. Bishop f5 is a fantastic move. If bishop takes bishop, then that wins the rook. And if pawn takes, then you can take here, and again the rook drops, and well, white is one pawn up with more to come. Beautiful idea. So there we go. Queen f6 is the key move. Now this game is Najditch against Kuzubov, European Championship, Warsaw, 2005. So let's just chase through very quickly. I wonder if Kuzubov thought he was winning this position. He's not, of course. In fact, this is a very standard trick here. First of all, if rook takes pawn, f2, white cannot draw this. Let's just check this. Rook g4 check. Now, black has to get it right. If you move to the f file, for example here, then that's going to be a draw. So black plays king e5, check. This time it's safe to cross over, because in this position you play king f7 and that wins. So after f3, mistake to take the pawn, but you can throw in rook g4 check. This is a very well-known theme, actually. Hopefully you've seen it before. You see this in studies and, well, in this actual game as well. And this draws because, well, if king f5, then that's fine. f2, rook f3 check, and that's just a draw. And here's the trick. King e3, rook takes g3. Now you can take it because the pawn is pinned, so it's just going to be a draw. Very neat, but yeah, a well-known trick. This little Zwischenzug saves white. Now, this is quite a well-known opening variation, actually, and it's a very typical trick in this kind of opening, the Catalan. So black played knight takes pawn. It doesn't actually win a pawn. One thing is, watch out for knight takes bishop. Knight takes, that wouldn't be too clever. So knight takes knight. Now, careful with this bishop. So bishop takes bishop. Now, if white were to play king takes, then queen takes, and this is better for black. Why? At the moment, black is a pawn up. And after queen takes c7, knight d5. It's actually a winning move, unmasking the bishop. So what does white play here? Well, this is a very important in-between move. Now, various options are possible for black. Queen d5, queen at d6, but pawn takes is normal. And only then king takes g2. So this little in-between move basically gets the pawn back. And this has been played in quite a few games actually. It's a pretty well-known theoretical continuation. Check. It's roughly level. I'd slightly prefer white because black's king is a little bit insecure, I mean, in the long term, but it's about equal. But that is a very important move. Knight takes, and then this Zwischenzug taking here, and it's about level. And finally, so Musa against Adams. This was played in the London Chess Classic in December 2023. Musa has a winning position. He took here, but here he blew it. He went in for the kill straight away with Queen e6. And who knows what he overlooked, but Bishop e7 was the final move of the game. I mean, perhaps he was just thinking that, I simply don't know. Maybe Rook b8, but after this, black is secure. He actually resigned in this position. But let's go back. So you don't need to go in straight away with the queen. There's a couple of ways to win. The clearest is Rook b8 check. So the king can't step up. If the rook goes back, then you can play Queen e6 and then take the rook. So Bishop d8, f4, hitting the queen, which has to keep hold of this. And then Queen d5 is a very delicate move. So that pins the rook, and you're ready just to take this one. And that's winning for white. The other way to win is f4. Good move. So before going for the kill, you throw in this threat to the queen, which actually forces the queen to a very unfortunate square. So for example, Queen h6, Rook b8 check wins. There's no longer Bishop d8. And after this, you can throw the check in and take here, winning for white. Or Queen g4, and once again the queen is in a very unfortunate position. Queen d5, and rook takes rook, and the checks run out very quickly because you can just block on g2 with the queen. Yep, good stuff. So what's the link between all these games? Hopefully you've spotted it by now. Well, I've said it often enough. In between moves. Zwischenzug is the theme in all these positions. So let's go back to position number one. Here, instead of the routine or the mistaken recapture, you have to throw in Queen g3, and then it's safe to capture. Or even better, another Zwischenzug, Knight h5, and then finally you capture. So let's see another one. This was very nice. After d5, instead of having to move the bishop away, you throw in the threat to the rook first, and only then you can move the bishop. So that's very nice. And yeah, the endgame one. Let's get to this position. A very nice Zwischenschach, an in-between check that saves the day before you take this pawn. So, okay, I won't go through them all again. So, I've taken all these positions from this new book, Zwischenzug, by Natasha Regan and Matt Ball, published by New in Chess. And it's a really nice study of this tactical motif, an incredibly common tactical motif. I mean, that's what's very interesting. That's what struck me. There's a lot of ideas that somehow I never thought of calling them Zwischenzüge or in-between moves, and they are, and they all fit in, and it's very expertly demarcated between different themes of in-between moves, which is really nice. It's a very entertaining book, and I think a very instructive book as well. I'm going to be interviewing Natasha Regan and Matt Ball on the channel on, let me get the date right, Friday the 31st of May, probably in the evening. Haven't set the time yet. but look out for announcements anyway. And I'll be asking them more about Zwischenzug. And yeah, it's a really entertaining book, I have to say. Really well done. So anyway, look out for announcements with another live broadcast on the PowerPlayChess channel. Thanks for watching.